Hey, what is going on, everybody? It is October 22nd, 2015. It's Mr.KB. And, I am very, very sad right now. I mean, not overall sad as far as, like, my personal life, my daily life, but my football life. My football fan life, um, has taken a big hit today. Today was the day when the delusion that I've been speaking about for the last 6 weeks, 7 weeks comes crashing down. The San Francisco 49ers, our San Francisco 49ers, lost to the Seattle Seahawks 20-3. See, here's the thing about getting old. And I'm gonna go off on a little tirade here. Here's the thing about getting old. You learn not to take things serious, and it's fine. Like, I'm not trying to take this serious. It's not my life, it's not my. I'm a football fan. I'm not a football fanatic. I'm not a diehard cut my wrist when my team loses type of I guess fanatic. But when my team loses, I get sad. You know what I mean? I like to see my team win. But it's been rough. We had that great showing against the Vikings Monday night, and I thought, oh my goodness, like this team looks good. What are the experts talking about? And I've been trying to dissect it little by little here and there to see where some of the shortfalls have been. There was a big win last week against the Ravens. I mean, big win in the sense of they didn't go and lose 5 straight, and then they lost today. They had lost 4 straight before the win, I believe. Yeah, they had lost 4 straight to Pittsburgh, Arizona, New York, and I can't remember who else they lost to. Arizona, Pittsburgh, New York, and they lost to someone else in between. A loss is a loss is a loss. And then last week, they won against the Ravens. Like, they have a chance of looking good again. Nope. Seattle put a stop to that crap quick. It started off with a 3-and-out, and then on Seattle's first possession, they marched it down the field. Marshawn Lynch had 9 carries on the first drive, and he had the first score of the game, 7-0, and that was pretty much all they needed. The 49ers finally got a field goal in the third quarter, and say what you will about everything. This is going to be, I guess, my rant on the season. This is going to be my rant on where something needs to change. I do miss Jim Harbaugh. I really do. Coach Harbaugh was the best coach we had in that position since Steve Mariucci. So that's 13 years, maybe a little bit more, since we've had a really good, smart head coach since the Mooch. And, crap happened with management and GMs and stuff. And to my opinion, GMs are overrated. I think Trent Baalke should have been long cut, been long fired. But like any other workplace, the politics of the office get into play here. I am the type that if a job is not getting done correctly, I would fire my own brother. I love my brother, but if I was the owner of the 49ers and I hired my brother to be the GM or cousin or a long, friend or however the hell they know each other, however it is that they know each other, if he's not getting the job done, I'm firing him. We can still be brothers. We can still be friends. We can still be, however, drinking buddies. If you want to be drinking buddies, we can be that. I would fire him. So I would have fired Baalke before I would have fired Jim Harbaugh, in my opinion. I would have found a GM that can actually work with Jim Harbaugh and not always conflict on that he knows better. Because first, you're a GM. You're supposed to scout for talent, talk to the coach, be like, hey, I think he would fit. You guys conversate, and then there you go. He coaches the talent you both guys agree that can fit in this system. Sometimes, obviously, someone's going to get something that they want, like any other type of working relationship. There's compromising to take place. But I would have fired Baalke, straight up. Little owner York. with his little douchey beard and mustache. He's like a kid with his parents' wallet, just plain. I don't see the passion in him. This is a business to him. This is a way for him to be rich and live a life that he wouldn't have been able to live any other way. That's all I see when I see him. That's all I see. Some little rich punk that has money that he can do whatever he wants because he's rich. Doesn't have to deal with anything. Now the team in itself, they've lost a lot of defensive players. They still have talent though. Like as far as like the talent that's there, they have Bethea, Eric Reed, Bowman. They still have a lot of like Tank Carradine. He's there. That he's been there since last season. Will Hoyt. I'm trying to remember who else is on here that they've got in. But I mean, they still have a solid foundation. They got Brock came back. They are missing some. What can I say? They are missing some secondary. Obviously, that's always been an issue. There's no way to draft. They have no way to actually draft secondary or cornerback help. That's always been the problem with them, and that's why part of the reason why I would have released Balky as well. He's not able to draft a cornerback. He drafted a safety thinking he can turn him into a cornerback, and that just seems stupid. But to me, the biggest thing, and yeah, it's gonna all fall on this one person, and maybe it's unfair. Maybe it's unfair, completely unfair. Maybe irrational of me to even consider this as a reason why the Niners are failing, but I've never been sold on the idea of Colin Kaepernick being the next best thing. When Jim Harbaugh came in as coach, the Niners went 13-3, and if not for 2 fumbles by the hell's this guy's name? I can't remember. I forgot his name. I hated him for so long. You all know who I'm talking about. If it wasn't for 2 fumbles on punt returns, the Niners are in the Super Bowl that year. The Giants don't even win, and the Niners go to the Super Bowl. Follow it up with the next year, and in all honesty, they probably win. I'm not even, Alex Smith gets a ring, the Niners get a ring, their first ring, and at that point would have been like the first ring in like 15 years or so, 16 years. I think they go Super Bowl and win. The following year, they get to the Super Bowl, and they get creamed for a bit. Lights go out, and then they come roaring back. And there was a chance. There was a chance. But I think that game did more to hurt the Niners than anybody could have realized, in my opinion. Alex Smith did very well with Jim Harbaugh as his coach. He played 10 solid games the following season, got hurt against the Rams. I remember that play specifically because I remember him not sliding, got hit in the back of the head. He had a concussion and some back pains. Kaepernick comes in. And I even did a video. You guys can probably go back like 3 years. And I even did a video about Kaepernick coming in, how good he looked, how fresh he looked. And he played pretty good rest of the season. Then he had that whole big, win in Lambeau against the Packers. Was it in Lambeau? I can't remember if it was in Lambeau specifically. It probably wasn't. I think it might have been at Candlestick. Rest in peace, Candlestick. And, he runs for 181. Like, oh my God, this guy is amazing. And blah, 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 blah. And I'm not even going to lie. For that half of the season, I bought into the hype. I swore this guy was going to be like the next coming of like a Steve Young, but more athletic. Like Steve Young wasn't the most athletic, but I think he was probably the most athletic QB that we ever had, in my opinion, even more so than Jeff Garcia. But what separates them is it doesn't matter how physically talented or gifted you are. You need to have this. You need to have this mental game. If you look at Peyton Manning, ever since he played in Tennessee, 20 years ago, I believe now, he was never a fast runner. He was never the most powerful arm. He was never really the top of anything. But you know what he did have and still has? He has this. He has this. He is a general on the field. He has been a general on the field. Even when he was surrounded by complete trash, he found a way to win. Tom Brady. I'm going to say it. I love Steve Young. He is my all-time favorite quarterback ever, above Montana. above anybody else. Me personally, that's my number one quarterback. If I can have Steve Young in his prime, I take him over any quarterback just because I love the dude that much. But Tom Brady is by far the best quarterback to ever play this game. Ever. That roster, offensively and defensively, but more offensively, has people on paper who you would never expect to achieve greatness in this league. And for the most part, they never do. But you know what they do? When they're in the Patriots uniform, they rock it. They play extremely well. They beat people they shouldn't beat. They do records that they shouldn't be completing. Man. And it's all because Tom Brady has this. And that's where Kaepernick fails. That is who I feel is the downfall of this team, is Kaepernick. Everybody bought into the hype of the 6 games plus the postseason that took the Niners to their first Super Bowl in 18 years. They bought into the hype when the following year we went back to the NFC Championship game. I believe we did that back-to-back before the last year where Harbaugh got cut finally. Everybody bought into the hype. But after the first 6 games, going to the second year, Kaepernick was still fairly decent, but he's just been on a downward slope ever since. He doesn't have this. He has a powerful arm. When he can run fast, but he doesn't have the football mentality. Today's game proved that much. He's one-dimensional. And all the sacks that he took, he falls back. He's already looking downfield, which is good. You're supposed to do that. But the problem is he can't see the sack coming. And you guys can blame, the offensive line, blah, 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 blah. In the beginning of the season, whether Coach Tom Sula did this on purpose, being smart, or maybe figured this was the way to show confidence in his quarterback, but Coach Tom Sula said Kaepernick has full control of play calling on the field. Full control. And with that full control and a simplified playbook, they have talked about this. They simplified the playbook to make it simpler for Kaepernick. He cannot succeed. He's had a couple good games, but even in today's broadcast, they were talking about how streaky he is. From games 1 and 2, even though they lost the second game, but games 1 and 2, he threw for 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Games 3 and 4, 0 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. 4 of those in one game against the Cardinals. And then games 5 and 6, I believe he went 3-0 again, winning one of those games, which was against the Ravens. And then today's game, no interceptions, but no touchdowns. And he doesn't even throw for yards. That's the problem. It's you don't have to necessarily score, but you have to be able to move the ball down the field. Quick stats from today's game, the box score. Russell Wilson, 18 for 24, 235 yards, 9.8 yards average per pass, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was upside down. He was sacked 5 times. He had a QBR rating of 81.4, which is not really good. It's not good. Honestly, it's not good. That score, for the most part, that box score for a quarterback is a loss. And 80% of the games, I want to say, that's a loss. That's a loss for that quarterback. That's a loss for that team. I mean, they scored 20, obviously, but that's still that's a loss. With 2 interceptions, that's a loss. But it's not a loss when the opposing quarterback is 13 for 24, throwing 124 yards only, averaging 5.2 per throw, sacked 6 times, and has a QBR of 9. 9. Single-digit QBR. Now, again, all you guys may think I'm a hater. You guys can think whatever it is that you want. I love my Niners. There's no other way I can say it. I've loved him ever since I was a kid. I watch other sports during playoffs, during whatever, might be on. I'll watch it. I love football season. I love my Niners. If I can cut my wrist and bleed a color of my alliance, it would be gold and red. Even more so than the Dodgers. And I'm LA raised. Even more so than the Dodgers. I don't bleed Dodger blue. I bleed gold and red. That's how much I love him. But this guy is complete trash. He is a career backup quarterback. He's really good when a defense is not prepping for him. Just like he was really good during the second half, or even really the last third of that season after Alex Smith got injured. When people prepped for Alex Smith and knew what to expect from Alex Smith, and you prep for him. Nobody could really prep for Kaepernick for the remainder of that season, because from one game to another, he constantly showed you something that was different. There wasn't any video. The following year, still kind of some new stuff. Year 3 as a starter, no, it was GG. It was game over. Because people had figured him out. There was all this video out there, and he cannot adapt. Today's game proved it. If he plays a weak defense, yeah, he can adapt. Playing a strong defense, there's no way he's adapting. There's no way he's adapting. 20 points is a good number to hold the Seahawks to with the weapons that they have. They had 5 sacks against them. They had 2 interceptions. They were up in the game, a +2 turnover ratio. The Niners didn't turn the ball over. Not anybody who wants to make excuses and go, oh yeah, but they don't have an offensive line, and the run game couldn't do it, blah 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 blah. Well, when you don't have to worry about the pass game, the run game can't even get started. And even when it comes to the run game, Carlos had 40, Reggie Bush had 21, most of that in the first half because they were able to actually get something going. But then when you don't have to worry about the pass, guess what? When they get the ball, they're getting tackled. That's just football. And if you want to say, oh, but what about the offensive line? Well, if he wasn't getting paid $117 million over the next 6 years, $16.8 million that due this year, maybe they could invest in some offensive linemen. I'm not saying that if you want to invest, I guess, in development of Kaepernick, you can't. But not a no elite quarterback number, not a no $100 million contract. That's the business aspect of it. This man is a career backup quarterback until he proves different. One fluke of a third of a season is not really you proving that you can do these things. The seasons following, the reason why they got to the NFC Championship games both times is because of their defense. Their defense was ranked top 5 those 2 years. Last year, they weren't. Well, actually, no, they were still ranked top 10. He just couldn't get anything done. He couldn't manufacture points. He couldn't lead his team to drives. It was actually the opposite. If Gore got him within distance, he would choke. He's a choker. Not worth $101 million. Not even close to that. I thought if they gave him an extension, they'd give him like maybe 4 years, 5 years at like maybe 60 mil. Around that maybe 10 to 12.5 million ratio. That's just, I guess, a number that you'd come to expect in the quarterback position. But $100 million plus at an average of about $17.2 million a year? Never, ever, ever is he worth that much. Never will he ever be worth that much. He can't do it. He doesn't have the football brains to actually get that accomplished. As harsh as it may sound, I'm not saying I can do the job better because I can't. I really can't. I'm not trying to be a football couch coach and be like, oh, I can do it. No, I can't. I know I can't. This man has been specifically raised with a purpose in mind in this life, to play sports. He was a good pitcher from what I heard. He had like a 96 mile an hour fastball. and he can throw a football that, but none of that matters when you don't have the mentality to actually take your talent to a level that you can achieve something. So I really blame him. Now my hope would be, and then again, this might sound harsh. My hope would be that they cut him. End of the season, they keep Tom Sula, give him another year to see what he can do. I don't think he's doing that bad of a job coaching. I really don't. I like his attitude. I like his persona. I like the cut of his cloth. I really do like him. As a person, he looks like he's a really cool guy. He sounds like a really cool guy. He knows he's been around the league for a long time. I would like to see him get another year to prove whether or not he can actually do it, but he needs to not have Kaepernick there. Kaepernick is Harbaugh's guy. As good a coach as Harbaugh was, Harbaugh had a plan for Kaepernick that's not going to work with any other coach except for Harbaugh. I don't know any other coach in the league that can develop a quarterback. Yeah, so I hope they cut him. I think if they cut him, they only pay him $10 million guaranteed next year or something, and they will get another like $7.8 million back in their pocket so they can invest. Draft a young quarterback, get another backup, give that guy a chance who you think could, do it, and invest in the offensive line. You have defensive components in place to at least have a solid defense, if not top 10, top 15, upper half of the NFL, guaranteed with the people you have now. And then you have Carlos Hyde, who's up and coming, who's running. If they keep Jared Haynes, they'll have Jared Haynes. Those two guys right there, you're straight. You have Torrey Smith for a couple of years. I think Bolden, this is his last year. I'm not sure. He might be set up until next year. So you already have two receivers for this new quarterback to come in. You have all the pieces that you need to develop a young quarterback who can actually do it. And for people saying, oh, well, Derek Carr of the Oakland Raiders, and this pains me to say, Derek Carr is a quarterback right now with more upside than Kaepernick. Now, if you don't believe me, you guys don't know football. And now I don't mean to sound like a dick about it. I don't mean to sound like, oh, I'm right because blah 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 blah. No, straight out, you can see this from Derek Carr. He is a NFL quarterback. He has that mind. He has that brain to be an NFL quarterback. Not as physically gifted as Kaepernick in any sort of way, but he has a football mind. He proved as much so last year when he tore apart the Niners. And this year, people always say that Oakland actually has a good team, and we're talking about the fucking Raiders. And Derek Carr. That he's an NFL. You need to find somebody with those football brains. Get them young, get them in the second or third round. Put a nice offensive line around him, because you'll have money to do that. You have the receivers to do that. If Vernon Davis is still down there, I think he's going after this year too. But you have young tight ends. You have Selleck. You have who's the other guy that's there? Is it the Lynch? I can't remember if it's the Lynch, but I know Selleck is there. Have receivers. You have running backs. You'll have a line. You'll have a top half NFL defense. This team could easily be a playoff team. They're not gonna achieve anything with Kaepernick. Straight out, they're just not going to do it. Disagree with me all you want. I wish I wouldn't even be saying this right now. I'm not saying bring back Alex Smith. He had his chance. Unfortunately, the cards and the dice that were rolled in while his tenure was taking place had been rolled, and he just wasn't going to achieve whatever he was going to achieve here. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to achieve more than what he achieved in San Francisco, especially when Harbaugh came in, and took that coaching spot at the end and gave him some stability. But you're gone. We need a young, fresh, smart quarterback that can do something, that we can develop from the ground up as a Niners quarterback. And Kaepernick is not that dude. He just isn't. Too expensive to be an experiment that you keep trying out year after year after year. And it all starts with the quarterback, the $100 million man behind center. That's where it all starts. Reason why the Patriots succeed is because of Brady being coached by Belichick, and he's able to be the general for that team, especially on the offensive side. But then the defense knows that if they give him the ball back, that he can do something with it. I'm starting to believe that the Niners defense tries and tries and tries and tries, but at the same time, you're gassed. Like, if you have that feeling that you're going to be defeated either way, because even if you get the ball back, your quarterback's not going to do squat with it, then you don't play as well. And you can look at the 2 wins as proof of that. And the games where Kaepernick came out blazing high, and it looked like, hey, this is going to be one of his good games. The defense played really, really good. Solid defense. And then the games where he just butchered it like he did today, like he did against Zona, like he did against Pittsburgh, they don't play well. They just don't. The Giants game was a toss-up. That was a good game, but that was a toss-up. Maybe the defense should have played a little bit better, but that was a hard-fought game. But yeah, no more delusions. I don't know if I'm still gonna watch my Niners. I honestly think this will probably be the last NFL blog, my last NFL Niners blog for a while. That's why it's taking this long. Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't believe in watching moral victories for your team and saying, this team is going to be a streaky team the entire season. There's no chance for them to actually make it to the playoffs now. Like the delusion that I had last week is gone. There's no delusion left. The Cardinals are going to go into San Francisco, and unless Carson Palmer is injured with like half of that other team, the Cardinals are going to come in and just wreck them. They play Seattle in Seattle next for the next meeting, I think sometime in November. If they got smoked by 17 at Levi's, they're going to get smoked by like 27 when they go to Seattle. And then the Rams always play them tight. Even when the Rams have a bad team, they always play the Niners tight. And I believe this year the Niners could easily go 1-5 in the division. Like in the Western Division, I honestly think in the NFC West they'll go 1-5. They might be able to sneak one away from the Rams, maybe, but the Cardinals in Seattle is just gonna wreck their face, and they'll probably beat the Browns. I know they play sometime this season. They'll probably beat the Browns, and that'll probably be one of the last 2 games. I believe the Niners are gonna finish 4-12. Maybe 5-11, and I don't want to like I'll be happy when they win, but I don't want to do these videos and talk about straight out. This is kind of like the end of the season. Like I know what this team is gonna do, and I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste your guys' time. Like I'll still watch I'll still watch the game, support the team, and hope everybody has a good season. They don't get hurt and all that stuff. But yeah, this football season was cut short. At least my football blog sessions were cut short. It's just I have no faith whatsoever that Kaepernick could ever be a good quarterback or a good starting quarterback. He is a good quarterback. He has the talents. He has the physical attributes to be a good quarterback. He can be a good backup quarterback for the rest of his career, but as far as a starting quarterback, it's never going to happen. It will take a divine intervention from all the major powers in this universe to make him a great starting quarterback in the league of a Brady, a Manning, either one of the Mannings, or even a Breeze, a Rivers, even like a Palmer who has longevity. Like you're just not gonna see it. Kaepernick is pretty much the second coming of Michael Vick. Extremely talented and Michael Vick was exciting to watch, and Kaepernick can be as well. But Michael Vick was never going to take the Falcons to the Super Bowl and win. After everything happened with him, he wasn't going to come back and be like this, oh my gosh, great player that, that people always thought he was going to be. This is, the quarterback position changes, but you win from the pocket from a quarterback. A running quarterback is never going to have great success. Just never going to do it. Russell Wilson moves the pocket, and that's why he's successful. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, has won 1. And if it wasn't for a bad play call where he should have been the general and just handed it off to Marshawn Lynch on an audible, he would have 2 rings at a young career. That's just facts. Those are facts. He can have 2 rings easily right now. He is the next generation of, if you want to call a running quarterback, he is what all running quarterbacks should aspire to be, is Russell Wilson. Somebody who moves the pocket. Doesn't move out of the pocket. He moves the pocket. The pocket is wherever he is, and he looks to pass, uses his feet last resort. Aaron Rodgers, another one who's an elite quarterback. Those are elite quarterbacks. Those are top-notch quarterbacks. Kaepernick will never, ever, ever reach that. And I hate to have to say that. I really, really do. But yeah, that's it, guys. I'll probably go back to video game stuff. Everything is dying down for me at work, so I don't have to work as much overtime. It looks like maybe after November 7th or 8th, overtime should be pretty much non-existent until early next year. But yeah, I'm going to try to focus on more peripherals and more games for the last end of the season, or the last part of this year. And, kind of go back to video games. Like, I miss doing. I haven't played a game like in 3 months, man. God, I'm getting the itch. But yeah, always, forever, and always, I will love my San Francisco 49ers. And it pains me to have to say these blunt, honest things about my own team. But I wish everybody on the team some sort of professional success this season, where they feel like they've achieved. I hope that if you're a fan, you still take joy in at least watching the team to some degree when they're not getting smoked, and enjoy the football season. I mean, there's 31 other teams that you can watch play and every week, and take solace in that, take joy in that. This is the best sports season of the year. But yeah, this has been Mr. KB. Thank you guys for watching so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.